This is the look we're going to do today. See, it's kind of a grungy, pink, multi-chrome. It shifts like pink to gold. So let's get into it. To set the base or whatever, I'm using the Ritual Defeat foundation in shade 125. This thing. I'm going to mix it with the Creature of Light Soft Glow Enhancer in Opalescent Creature. I think they reformulated it and then repackaged it, so it's in a different type of bottle, but I'm using up this one. Today's look is inspired by Johnny Ross. He has a podcast called Beautiful and Bothered with his friend, and they're both professional makeup artists. They used to work at Sephora together. Now they have a podcast where they just like talk about makeup. It's very cute. It's very fun. One of the episodes, it's the one where they talk about how like kids have been making a mess in Sephora. They both have very like Barbie inspired looks. And Johnny specifically has like this bright pink eye look with like this beautiful gunmetal silver on the lower lash line. And I just loved that like color combo. This is kind of my take on it. I go in a little bit more of a grungy direction. Concealer, that's right. I learned a new technique for under eye stuff, for covering up the under eye purplishness. I learned it from Robert Welsh. Okay, so I take a little bit of this foundation in 140 because it's all slightly dark for me. I take a little bit of that and then I put it in the center. So you want to take something that's like a little darker than your skin tone and put it in the center, and then you put your concealer on either side of it, and then you blend it together. Also inspired by the podcast. They talk about like, what's it called? Contouring, which I've never really been successful at. I've never really tried that hard either. But they did inspire me to try a little bit. So I'm taking a little bit of Ritual Defeat Eclipse. I know they like just came out with like actual contour, but I'm trying not to spend more money. So, and I already had this. So I'm gonna try to use it. It's like a kind of blackish purple, and then a little bit of blush. I kind of go back and forth with whether I like blush on me or not, but I know when I do like blush, it is always purple blush. So this is the Honest Beauty Lush Lilac. I also wanted to bring the blush up a little bit more. I think that'll help. When it comes to face stuff, I don't really know what I'm doing. I understand eyeshadow, I know eyeshadow. The face stuff is a little more advanced for me, but I do want to get better at makeup, so that's why I'm trying it out. Now we start to get to the fun stuff. So this is the Davina Cosmetics Specular Sparkle and Shimmer Glue. It's basically a primer. Isn't it so pretty? I love that too. I honestly think all packaging should basically just look like this. Tiny little bit. For mattes, I'm going to go into this Blend Bunny Lure palette. And I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this row, this pink row, not the green at the top, but the pink row. You may notice that the top row I have brutalized. Listen, I call this channel Sparkle Punk. I very much like to make my palettes my own. Love the Blend Bunny mattes. I feel like her shimmers are fine. I'm not a big shimmer person. I am multi-chrome or nothing. Like I like my multi-chromes. I like my duochromes. I don't really care for things that are just shiny with no shift to them. And her shimmers are nice. She doesn't really have multi-chromes. Like for example, like this pearl one, that's really nice. I kept that one. But in general, compared to like the multi-chromes I have, they don't compare. So I tend to kind of toss those and replace them. These are all Cleona shades. I have a lot of like circular pan multi-chromes, but not a lot of square ones, but Cleona makes square ones, so then I tend to add the Cleonas into the Blend Bunny. Anyway, starting with this pink one here, X marks the spot. And I'm taking this like little slanted brush here and then going into the outer corner. I do also have the Ellis Atlantis palette, which does have more like bright pinks. But I just thought that with this like grungy gunmetal silver on the lower lash line, I really like how the pinks in this Lure palette, they have a little bit more of like a coolness to them, which is really nice. I would love to see more fun, like creative makeup looks like in the wild. Like I see them on Instagram, obviously. I wish that like more people felt emboldened to play with makeup. Since I am putting the mattes on top of the speculum, shiny specular, what is it? Let's call it speculum. It's not a speculum. Specular shimmer glue base, because they have like a matte one. I should probably have used the matte one, except they don't have the matte one, and trying not to buy new things. It's the primer that I have, and you know what? I think it works fine. I'm gonna switch brushes to this like finer point. Well, it's not really a fine point, but you know, it's like flatter. You get more control with a brush like this. Gonna go into that light pink over here called Baited. Gonna go into like this inner third. I'm not entirely sure yet what I want this like, what I want the series of videos to be. Like, I guess like I kind of want to make them instructional, because like I do want to help people feel more comfortable just like playing with color, and like especially multichromes. I feel like people get intimidated by them. Next, I'm gonna go in with silicone brush. Silicone brushes are best for glitters, multichromes, all those things. I'm going into this. So this is the Pat McGrath Subversive palette that I have also brutalized. Her mattes, I don't need them. I Blend Bunny. Her like sheer multichromes, I don't need them. I have better ones. Like the ones that are very, very, like very dry. No. The winners are, is this pink one? I think it's called Night Creature. This one called Blitz Amethyst. This one is called, okay, I forget what this one's called. And this one. Don't remember what that's called either. Right now we're gonna go into this like bright fuchsia. It's kind of more of a dark fuchsia, actually. And we're gonna go on the outer corners. And I got this like early on in my makeup journey. Also, I got it from Poshmark because, sorry, she's not cruelty free. So I try not to get directly from her website. I try to only get from like Poshmark or Mercari. Brands who have like much fewer resources than she does have like the cruelty free certification. Like, animal testing is so unnecessary. Anyway, so the next into this shade, I glued this in there before I wrote down what it was, so I don't remember what it's called. That's like a pink gold duochrome. Going into the center here. Multichromes and shimmers are definitely best applied with like a silicone brush or your finger. If you don't have those and you, like me, are trying not to buy things, then you can use your setting spray. You can spray your setting spray onto a brush. You're going to want to go for like a flatter brush like this one, or if you want bigger surface area like this, like flat, you want a brush that's shaped like that, because that's going to be better at like packing on the eyeshadow. And if you keep it a little spritz with setting spray, then it's going to give it that like stickiness, because you want that stickiness for picking up all the sparkles. Next, I'm going to go into this shade here, which is Dualism Beauty Garnet. I'm going to transition into a sort of gold inner corner. Kind of just going back and forth between that like fiery shade I don't remember the name of, and the Dualism Beauty Garnet shade. The most common mistakes that I see people make when they like start to get into makeup and then they like try it and they're like, it didn't work for me. Number one, they don't do like the skin prep, you know? So you see how I look very wet. I look moisturized, you know? That's because my skin is actually naturally very dry, and I exfoliate every day in the shower, because that's how quickly my skin just does its thing and creates dry skin. Very gentle exfoliation. And then when I get out, I do my lotion, my moisturizing, whatever, and then sunscreen, and then I do, the foundation, whatever. You don't exfoliate and you throw some makeup on. It's kind of like if you were to paint a dresser, but you don't wipe off the dust first. Do you know what I mean? You want to start with a clean base, I know it's kind of a cliche, but like giving up too quickly. I feel like with makeup, like it looks goofy until it looks better. Both in the short term and the long term. Everyone looks a little goofy in the beginning. Next, we're going to go into this shade. It looks white. It's actually like a pinkish gold color. It's very pretty. The shade is called Lunar Spectrum by Terra Moon Cosmetics. Like it's gold, but it has that like pink quality to it. I was thinking earlier about how like doing my makeup is like very gender affirming for me. Cisgender people, we do gender affirming shit all the time. A lot of us cis women like doing our makeup, doing our hair, putting on jewelry, getting the way we dress. Same with cisgender men, right? Doing the sports. I don't know. We do gender affirming stuff all the time, and we enjoy it because it's fun. Why don't we want to allow trans people to do the same? And also, like, let cisgender men wear makeup too. It's colors. It's colors for your face. It's wild to me that there are makeup companies out there that, like, don't want to work with, like, male makeup artists, male creators. Why would you, like, intentionally reduce your potential customer base? You're that homophobic. You're that hateful that you'd rather lose money, lose potential customers for no reason other than your own hate. Stupid. The stupid. It's so stupid. What am I doing? I'm distracting myself. I think I'm going to start on the lower lash line. So going into this shade here, it's like a dark gunmetal silver, not really like a shiny one. And I'm just going to go in the lower lash line here. It's going to come about like third halfway in. Yeah, one of the episodes I was listening to of the podcast, Johnny was talking about how he struggles to like get brand deals with makeup companies because they don't want to work with him because he's a man. They'll work with like drag queens, but he was saying like drag queens are seen as like a performance, like makeup is like part of the costume, versus like with him, like he's just a man who just likes to wear makeup. Like makeup is just part of his daily routine. He's not like pretending to be a character the way that like drag is. He's just living his life, and makeup is part of that, you know. He's a professional makeup artist and he also enjoys wearing it, and he looks amazing. I don't even have his skills and I do my makeup every day. If I had his skills, of course I would do makeup every day. I don't know if it looks good, but I do kind of like the grungy effect of creating like a little wing, I guess. I think it looks a little dramatic in a fun way. It's so funny to me because the whole time that he was telling the story about how these like brands don't want to work with him because he's a man, so these companies are essentially reducing their potential customer base for no reason other than just homophobia and being stupid and hateful. It reminded me of like, so like the reason that we as women are conditioned to shave our legs and our armpits, like the hair's there, so like it's supposed to be there because like it grows there, right? The reason that we're conditioned to is because literally in like, oh God, I want to say it was the 1800s. I have ADHD and I do not have a brain for like remembering years, but I want to say it was like the 1800s. The Gillette company was like, okay, men buy razors. How do we sell to more people? So how do we sell to women? Most women, generally speaking, don't grow hair on their faces. So like, how are we gonna sell more razors? Oh, we have to make a campaign that shows women shaving their legs because ew, leg hair on women? That's not, you should buy our product so then you don't have that. And it worked. And I say this, like, I do shave my armpits, so like I'm not judging anybody who does, obviously, but I'm just saying like I understand the reasoning behind it. Like it's stupid, but it makes sense because you're like, yeah, capitalism. Like they're trying to convince more people to buy their product. This is, it's like, it's giving like it hurt itself in its confusion. Like, anyway, so for like this inner part, I don't actually want to take the dark color, the dark gunmetal, like all the way in, because I find that if I put a dark color on like this like inner part of the lower lash line, it can be fun, like it can be like edgy and cool and grungy, but when I do that, I tend to have a much lighter like top lid to balance it out. This top lid is like already kind of grungy, which is what I want, but balance, right? So this is the Sinful Echo Spiritus Vitae palette. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's gorgeous. My girlfriend got it for me as a present. And I'm using this shade right here. Wow, they're so shiny. They're like, not, there you go. There you go. These are the shades. They're so pretty. Anyway, so this one is called Yamra. I'm struggling with these pronunciations, but it's gorgeous. As someone who owns like way too many eyeshadows, Sinful Echoes creates shades I've never seen anyone do before. She comes up with just gorgeous shades that are so incredibly unique. So you see how this is also a silver, but it's like a lavender toned silver, and it, because it's a lighter color, it brings some brightness to the look and kind of opens up the eye. Oh, I haven't really talked about my brushes. I use Prados brushes now. They're literally all I use because they're amazing. They're the best brushes I've ever used. I am in love. This is the P15. Short and dense. You can like, it gives you a lot of control. These are the softest brushes I've ever used. Prior to these, I was using Sigma. Sigma's great. These are phenomenal. I only discovered Prados Beauty because of Trixie Mattel. She talked about the brand. I can't remember if she actually was talking about the brushes specifically or whether she was just giving them a shout out in one of her videos. I came up a little high with that, so I think I'm going to go back into this Lunar Spectrum shade to make it a little more gold. I feel like there's this thing where like, if you're a man and you want to experiment with makeup, you want to play with makeup, you then like have to do it in a drag way, which if you want to explore makeup in that way, awesome, have fun. But like, it shouldn't be mandatory. Like, you should be able to like be a man and just like wear makeup to work because you wanna. Another Pat McGrath product, which this one I couldn't get from her website if I wanted to because she doesn't make it anymore. So I'm gonna have to find a dupe for this pink shade because it's the only shade I use, honestly. This shade right here. So yeah, I'll have to find a dupe for it once I actually use it up, which will take a long time because look at this thing. Look how massive this thing is. But it's, what I like about it is it's this beautiful, cool toned pink, which you don't really see. Next, we want to add a little bit more pink to the inner corners. I want to put this on. It's the Menagerie Cosmetics Adelie Topper, but that's a fun part. And I want to get the not fun part over with. And the not fun part is, per usual, the liner. And mascara is fine. The liner is the hard part. I use an angled, I cannot get the hang of those long calligraphy liner brushes. I can't, I need something short that I can control. So I use this. It's P13 from Prato's Beauty. Also, can we just, look how pretty that is. It matches my eyeshadow. Look how beautiful that is. Their brushes are gorgeous. Also, look at, I love how it has, all the brushes have this little groove. So when you go to hold it, it just, your fingers naturally fall into the perfect place. Which, as a lesbian, I love. Sorry. This is Black Moon Cosmetics Sleepwalker. It's a liquid lipstick, but it works really well. I always like to start in the outer corner because that's, I can be a little messy in the outer corner and it's not as noticeable. I start in the outer corner, come in a little bit, inner corner, into the middle a little bit. I just kind of have a meet in the middle. The thing I want to try is, I got, it's like a little freebie when I got my brushes. I got some Prato's lashes. I think the full eye is a little much, but I took one of the lashes and I cut them. So I just have these little corners. And I'm kind of thinking of sticking them to my outer corners, but I don't know if that'll look stupid. I don't have eyelash glue. What I do have is this Dualism Beauty Crystal Gel, which I use for crystals and rhinestones and stuff. But I'm kind of thinking tomato, tomato. I think it looks a little silly. All right, okay. I'm gonna do the rest of my face now. Going in with this Space Age Gifted by Kaleidos Makeup. Because it's a pink highlighter, I like to kind of put it where I would put blush, even though we already did our blush. This purple highlighter, which is Cat Shark from Black Moon Cosmetics. Now I'm going in with the Jellyfish, which is the blue Black Moon Cosmetics highlighter. A little bit of like pink, purple, blue. Is it powder time? I think it's powder time. Companies keep making great purple setting powders and then just not making them anymore. I started with the Menagerie Cosmetics setting powder in the shade Lavender. Then they didn't make it for like 3 years, 2 or 3 years. So then I searched for another one and I found this Moonworks LLC shimmering setting powder. It says shimmering. I don't find it that shimmery. And now I went to their Etsy shop because I'm running a little low on this little guy. And they exclusively do perfumes, no more setting powder. I googled lavender setting powder and the Menagerie one came up. Like they have a low stock, but apparently they're making it again. Next I gotta do my lips real quick. I will do a little bit of this black gloss. It's the Ritual Defy Black Thorn, I think? Night Thorn? I don't know. There's a black one with glitter. So it's that one. On top of that, I add Unicorn Gang Cosmetics Mauve Over. Alright, I blotted it a little bit, and then I'm going back in. Cute. I didn't forget. I mean, I did forget, but then I remembered this Adelie topper. So we're going to go in just the inner corners. You're going to add a little bit. It just adds a little extra sparkle. We're going to go back in, too, getting a little bit more of that gel because we're going to go in with tweezers. And we're going to go in with these Half Magic little self-adhesive gemstone thingies Except this one is like $13 for like one of these. Meanwhile, you can get a whole bag of these from Glitter Delight LLC. Same shit, a little bit bigger. They're the same size as like the big ones on here. And this whole bag is like $4. So, never gonna buy from Half Magic again. I thought maybe the self-adhesive might be helpful. It's not, because it is so challenging to pop them off. Look at that. The sticky stays on the plastic. They're not even self-adhesive. You still gotta use the crystal gel anyways. The Half Magic ones, waste of money. Go to a craft store. Again, I like Glitter Delight, their website. You know, all kinds of different colors. Zhuzhing up at the inner corners. Now I'm gonna put one on each side of the outer corners, and then I'll call it a day. They look pretty even to me. And I'm already late. So this is the finished look. Wait, I gotta do a little of this. I don't know that that actually helps set anything. It just feels nice. You know what? I do want to lighten up the lips a little bit. So I'm gonna go in with the Dolly Beauty birthday suit. So this is the finished look.